Today, we're talking about what might be the most crucial turning point in the One Piece live action. Because now, we are only a few steps away from Season 2, and Netflix is about to bring one of the most emotional, striking, and symbolic arcs in anime history to the screen, Drum Island. This arc represents the first time the Straw Hat crew is fractured, the moment Luffy's leadership truly begins to weigh on him, and the turning point that completely reshapes Chopper's destiny. But in this video, we're not just going to talk about how Drum Island will be adapted. We're going to dive into the new scenes Netflix is likely to add, the psychological depth of the characters, and the details that were brief in the anime but absolutely must be expanded in live action. Before we begin, I want to be completely honest with you. You're not just viewers, you are my Straw Hat crew. Recently, the YouTube algorithm has been hitting the channel really hard. Our videos aren't reaching as many people as they used to, and the only way to push through this is to work together. So if you take a moment to subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments, you'll be helping this channel far more than you can imagine. Every bit of support keeps this ship sailing. Alright, if you're ready, let's begin. The anime and manga versions of Drum Island were incredibly dense, filled with symbolic and political layers. That's why Netflix is expected to expand the story, add deeper subtext, and rebuild certain scenes using a more modern storytelling approach. Especially Hiriluk's past, Wapol's cruel tyranny, and the harsh, blizzard-wrapped chaos of the island will look far more brutal and realistic in live action. This could make the arc feel less like a tale and more like a survival experience. Nami falling ill forms the emotional heart of this arc. Considering how well Netflix handled emotional moments in Season 1, Nami burning with fever, struggling to breathe, her eyes dimming, and Luffy's panic-stricken expression will hit much harder. Because Nami isn't just a character, she's the emotional core of the Straw Hat crew. Her collapse creates a moment where the entire team feels shattered. Netflix will need to magnify this sense of helplessness with long, harsh, realistic scenes. Drum Island's snowy landscape will completely shift the visual identity of Season 2. They will likely use real snow effects, large outdoor sets, and CGI-enhanced blizzards. If the island's loneliness, silence, and cold are conveyed deeply to the audience, Luffy's climb with Nami and Sanji on his back will become far more painful and unforgettable. In this atmosphere, Netflix will probably aim for an emotional tone close to Arlong Park, maybe even stronger. And of course, the political side of this arc will also expand in live action. Wapol's tyranny, the exile of doctors, the villagers' despair, and why Hiriluk became such a powerful symbol of hope will be shown in much more detail. Instead of short flashbacks, Netflix may use full sequences. Watching Wapol build his empire of fear step by step while Hiriluk resists alone will make the character's motivations much more impactful for the audience. Hiriluk's iconic scene where he protects the pirate flag will almost certainly be expanded in Netflix's version. In the anime, it was only a few seconds, but in live action, it could become a full sequence that reinforces every character's motivation. Showing Hiriluk injured, planting the flag in a snowstorm, staining it with his own blood, running from Wapol's soldiers, and shouting, "This flag is hope," would give the moment much more emotional weight and create a powerful parallel to Luffy's future moments defending the flag. Luffy's anger toward Wapol will also feel much more intense in Netflix's adaptation, because when Luffy learns Hiriluk's story and how Chopper was broken, it's one of the rare times he becomes genuinely furious. In live action, Kureha explaining to Luffy what Wapol did to the people, how he banished doctors, and how everyone was left to suffer will deepen that rage. This scene will clearly show the audience why Luffy clenches his fists so tightly and why he charges into the blizzard after Wapol without hesitation. The scene where Nami is carried up the mountain could become one of the emotional peaks of the entire season. Luffy gasping for breath, Sanji blaming himself because he's injured, Nami experiencing feverish hallucinations. Netflix will likely take a very cinematic approach. Nami may see flashes of her past traumas, Arlong, Bellemere, even Kokoyashi Village through the haze of her fever. This would highlight her vulnerability and remind viewers exactly why Luffy is the leader. The moment Chopper is convinced to join the crew will be handled with more layers in live action. While Chopper still sees himself as a monster, Luffy telling him, "You should be our doctor," isn't just an invitation, it's a sentence that changes Chopper's entire life. Netflix likely won't rush this scene. Chopper's fearful eyes, Hiriluk's words echoing in his mind, and Kureha watching proudly from a distance. These details will show exactly why Chopper makes the decision he does. Wapol's return scene will be a mix of comedic and threatening energy. How they portray the Baku Baku Nomi with CGI could determine the technical success of the season. If they stay faithful to the anime, the scene where Wapol tries to eat the castle could be both absurd and tense. This moment not only demonstrates Wapol's power, but reinforces the point where Chopper stands up for himself for the first time, becoming a hero who fights as a doctor. Luffy's climb up Drum Rock could become the emotional centerpiece of the entire season. Because this scene isn't just a physical climb, it's Luffy's purest expression of "I will never abandon my friends." Netflix may use slow-motion shots, the sound of Luffy's cracking breath, his frozen fingers, and the true weight of carrying two friends on his back. With close-up shots of his face and snow hitting his skin, the audience might genuinely feel cold watching it. Handled well, this scene could become one of the most used moments in the season's trailers. The castle sequence after the climb is a moment of emotional collapse and rebirth. Introducing Chopper is a tricky challenge in live action. He needs to be believable, adorable, and emotionally expressive all at once. That's why Netflix will likely combine animatronic facial movements with CGI. If Chopper's shy glances, trembling ears, and wounded expressions are handled correctly, he will feel like a real living being. The first few seconds must be flawless for the audience to bond with him. When Chopper's backstory is revealed, Netflix may take a darker tonal approach. Moments like his first encounter with Hiriluk, villagers throwing rocks at him, and Chopper crawling through the snowstorm alone could be shown in extended scenes. Hiriluk's line, "You are not a monster," only reaches its full emotional power if the trauma beforehand is truly felt. That's why the flashbacks may be slow, heavy, and deeply emotional, helping the audience understand why Chopper is both fragile and incredibly brave. And of course, Hiriluk's death, one of the most heartbreaking moments in all of One Piece. There is no way live action will rush this. Hiriluk looking up at the sky and saying his iconic line, "When do you think people die? When their hearts stop?" No, when they are forgotten, will become one of the strongest quotes of the season. The director will probably use long takes, swelling music, and snowflakes mixed with soft pink tones to turn the scene into something poetic. Chopper's screams, and Kureha's trembling eyes, could devastate the audience. Immediately after Hiriluk's death comes the Sakura scene, the soul of Drum Island. Netflix could create a visual spectacle here. Pink snowflakes, light rising from the castle, and Chopper collapsing to his knees in tears. This moment could remind the world why One Piece is so beloved. With the right musical theme, the Sakura scene could become one of the most unforgettable moments in live-action history. Following the Sakura sequence, Chopper's psychological transformation will require the most emotional precision. Chopper's identity crisis, who am I, a monster, a reindeer, a human, or just a doctor, could be portrayed with longer internal monologues. When the camera captures the hesitation in Chopper's eyes, viewers will better understand that he is a child who has been feared, rejected, and isolated for years. This is where the depth of his character truly shines. And right on top of that emotional breaking point comes Luffy's invitation, which will probably be even more impactful in live action. Luffy simply saying, "Come with us," may not be enough. Netflix will likely add a moment where Luffy looks straight into Chopper's eyes and says, "I'm going to be king of the pirates, and I need my doctor." It won't work without you. This line shatters all of Chopper's fears because for the first time someone tells him he is needed, accepted exactly as he is. If handled correctly, this moment will make it nearly impossible for the audience not to cry. Chopper's return scene will be a tidal wave of emotion. Chopper stopping in the snowstorm after hearing Luffy's voice, the steam of his breath mixing with the cold air, tears streaming from his eyes, and then suddenly running back toward Luffy, combined with Netflix's dramatic music and wide camera shots, could become one of the most magical scenes of the season. This moment represents not just a character's return, but the exact instant the Straw Hat family grows. Chopper stepping onto the ship for the first time will shift the whole tone of the season. Usopp's shocked expression, Sanji greeting him with a smile, Zoro's slightly teasing but warm reaction, and Nami now healed looking at him with gratitude. I will all help solidify the crew dynamic. Netflix may include small but effective moments. Chopper's shy gestures, his clumsy attempts to adjust to ship life, and Luffy impatiently introducing him to the rest of the family. These details will make the audience feel that the Straw Hat family has truly grown. If Drum Island is handled correctly in live action, One Piece Season 2 won't just be a continuation, it'll be a defining chapter. Luffy's trek through the blizzard, Chopper's acceptance of himself, Kureha's quiet pride, and Hiriluk's eternal hope. When all these moments come together, this season can remind the world of One Piece's core message. Family isn't defined by blood, it's defined by who you share your heart with. If Netflix captures the emotional layers of this arc correctly, Drum Island won't just be an episode, it will become a television event talked about for years. What do you think? How will Luffy's climb, the Sakura scene, and Chopper's joining look in live action? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The Grand Line journey continues. See you in the next video.